Hola everyone. Welcome to this week's live. We're starting a little bit early. I know I just came in here early, so other people also have time to get notified. But definitely welcome to this week's live. Um, this week we're gonna talk about something that's really near and dear to everyone who are planning to or already applied for the Spain Digital Nomad visa. I understand that this is one of those few visas where you can travel or like go with your family the moment you get approved, which is great. Um I feel like that's one of the good things I think about Spain. Not only are they generally have this new innovative ideas for attracting, like expats and tourists, but they also have very good sense of how yung families belong together, so feel like especially with the digital nomad visa or the non-lucrative visa, it's pretty fair. So this week we're gonna talk about all about bringing your family here using the digital nomad visa. We'll talk about how to do it in the consulate, how it definitely works, and like the updates of how it works now in UHE as well. We'll talk all about it. And definitely, if you have any questions about the digital nomad visa, you can leave any comment and I'll try to answer all of them then. I have my trusty laptop in front of me because it's a lot. It's a lot of topic to cover. It's a lot of topic to cover. So I definitely want to make sure that I have all the information to give out to you guys. Ayun, but definitely welcome. And we'll start probably in like a few minutes. But before that, I also wanna like have this a little bit of an announcement since the upcoming holidays are coming. I just wanna say thank you everyone for this year. Because my birthday is coming soon, so I definitely feeling all the good vibes and the good karma, I believe in all that stuff. So I'm definitely like thankful for this year, for everyone na come here to the live, who message me, who thank me for, like they're already here in Spain, or families that I am working with, to getting them here in Spain. I want to thank you guys. And yeah, I think we should get started para hindi rin kayo mainip. But definitely, the Spain Digital Nomad Visa is one of those rare visas where you can bring your family all together, sabay-sabay kayong mag-move to Spain, which I feel is really a plus. It's a good like program of Spain to bring families together. Like they understand that um we want to keep families together, and that's definitely really important to me. My dad worked as an OFW for a really long time. We didn't really like see each other that much when I was small. He did his best, then we're very close. But I feel like especially because he got sick, later on, I feel like we could have used a lot of that time together when he was still healthy, ganyan. So definitely this is very near and dear to my heart. I try my best as much as possible to keep families together. We've had approvals lately that I'm really so proud of. Not just because, they're approvals, but also because um know, and I know these people, like I said, that's why I take only limited amount of clients, because I want it as personal as possible. And knowing these people, even for such a short time, we've only known each other, what, 2 3 months during the application, and then them getting approved, and really felt yung so ang tawag dito, so important for them to bring their whole family together here in Spain. So yeah, ayan, let's get started on how you can bring your family here using the Spain Digital Nomad Visa. So generally, just like the other type of visas offered by Spain, or like how you definitely apply as a single applicant, pareho rin siya. You have to choose pa din if sa consulate or sa UHE ka mag-apply, because both applicable siya. Depende kung saan yung mas preferred nyo na mag-apply. So for example, if sa consulate, then it's straightforward. Pwede kayong sabay-sabay na magpasa ng documents. You can book the appointment as a family under dun sa BLS appointment system. And then you just have to pick kung anong, like, sino yung main applicant, ano yung relationship nila with the dependent, ganyan. And then, una sa lahat, ang laging tinatanong sa akin, sino ba yung mga dependent na pwedeng isama for Spain Digital Nomad Visa? So, una sa lahat, of course, your partners or your married partners, like your spouses. So, pwede yan. And then, pwede din isama yung unmarried partners. However, may caveat to. Like, kailangan may proof kayo na physically dependent kayo on each other, financially dependent kayo on each other, you have, a joint domestic partnership. So, it does take a lot of paperwork to do so, but we've had success naman with other clients, especially with the LGBTQ community, that they cannot really get married in the Philippines. And Spain takes that into account, I feel then naman. And then, of course, you can also bring your kids with you. So your minor kids especially, it's pretty much straightforward. You just need their birth certificate, and if sa consulate kayo mag-a-apply, you need pedia to just do a medical clearance for them. And then another one that you can bring is your adult um kids. So with your adult kids, it's also has a caveat, which is dapat financially dependent sa'yo. Yung kid mo, maybe you're cohabitating, like you're still living like in the same household. You're paying maybe like for everything, like hindi pa naman siya employed or anything like that, then definitely pwede yun, as your adult dependent, yung kid mo. And then another one na pwede mong dalhin is your elderly parents. So elderly parents in Spain, or specifically for the Spain Digital Nomad Visa, dapat ay 80 years old pataas. Yun yung meaning nila ng elderly parents. So that means they are medically kind of dependent on you or physically dependent on you. Basta naman 80 years old, parang given na yon na they are physically, medically dependent sa'yo. However, sometimes nag-ask pa din sila ng additional documents to prove na walang ibang mag-aalaga, or walang ibang pwedeng mag-alaga but ikaw. Or ikaw talaga yung nag-aalaga bago pa kayo nag-apply na tong visa. So like you guys are living together for more than 2 years or 1 year before you applied for this visa, ganon. And then, of course, meron din yung mga parents. Just, your normal parents, like they're 40, 50, ganyan. However, may caveat din to. They have to be medically or physically or financially, like, dependent talaga sa'yo. And this, kailangan lahat yon, all three. So, with one of the cases we've handled, they were able to provide all of those documents, which is kudos to them. It's not a small feat. They really did their best. I was just like, okay, ganito yung pwede nyo punan, punta kayo dito, ganito yung gawin nyo. And they were able to get it, and they were fast, and like, I couldn't be more prouder of them to be able to accomplish this feat and to just follow, yung direction ko, and they were just able to do it. So that really is the main point of why it succeeded. It was one of the cases na I was really nervous about taking on, and I kept on reminding them na, huy, like, just in case your mom is not able to come with you, because the mom is pretty young, like she's like about 50, ganyan. So like, I was not sure, or I'd never handled a case like that before, and usually other consultants said that it's really malabo talaga siyang mangyari, kasi they're really strict with adults, kasi nga technically her mom can still work in Spain, and they don't want that. Like the whole point of the digital nomad visa is that you don't compete in the employment market here. So definitely that's one of like a really good case that I can give as an example with parents that are not elderly but was still able to go through the system. So definitely yun yung main ano dito, like main na, let me just put this on the side, but like yun yung definitely main purpose of this live is to answer those questions that you might have when you are bringing your family with you. So mag-start tayo in the consulate. So technically ayun nga, like I said, sabay-sabay kayo magpapasa, ito yung mga dependents mo. Ano yung mga caveats? So first, higher yung minimum income requirement. So, hindi mo ifa-follow yung for single applicant. So, that's why I do a breakdown of ano yung difference in the Ate in Spain Blue Up page. Ayun, meron doon yung minimum income requirement if sa Spain mag apply, if sa consulate sa Philippines mag apply. So, I do put that on there para din alam nyo na the more dependents that you bring, the more higher yung minimum income requirement. So, paano to kino-compute? So, first and foremost, yung basis kasi ng minimum income requirement is yung SMI here in Spain. So, it's basically, think about it as kind of like your minimum wage. So, yung minimum wage times 200%, doon nakabase yung minimum income requirement for one person. However, if magdadagdag ka, for example, your spouse or your first dependent mo, ang mangyayari dyan ay magpa-plus 75% times the SMI. So, kung ano yung 75% ng minimum wage, idadagdag mo yon dun sa already minimum income requirement for one applicant. Ngayon, every other dependent after that, because usually ang setup, right, is your spouse and then your kids, right? So, ang ano nila, they try to make it a little bit like maayos or at least like make sense is that plus 25% ng SMI times ng SMI yung every other dependent after that. So let's say lima kayo in the family. So that means yung single applicant 200% of the SMI plus yung 75% for your first dependent plus 25% for the second dependent, plus 25% ulit for the third dependent, and then plus 25% ulit for the last dependent. So, ito total mo lahat yun. I do have the breakdown of the numbers here on my TikTok then. So, you can definitely view that video. Pero ganun siya kino-compute yung minimum income requirement. Ngayon, ano yung mga important na documents in general? So, first kasi, yung single application, technically, ikaw lang yung i-evaluate nila. Kaya nga sinasabi ko, hindi pwede yung combined income. Kasi technically, there has to be a main applicant. Siya yung parang breadwinner of the family, ganyan. So, they don't really care if nagwo-work ba yung husband mo or yung wife mo. They don't care about any of those. Ang kailangan lang nila is first, ikaw, nare-reach mo yung minimum income requirement, approve ka, yan yung mga documents mo kompleto. And then, for your dependents, all they really need is, besides yung sa mga general documents like the application form, the tax form, that type of thing. So, yung tax form, just so hindi kayo malito, the tax form is tasa modelo yung tawag dito. So, basically, parang fill upan nyo lang yon and parang yun yung tax nung visa fee na babayaran nyo. But basically, yun yung fee for applying for this visa. And then, aside dun sa mga general requirements na yon, ang kailangan is to prove yung proof of relationship. So, for example, for your kids, this will be their birth certificate. Medyo gets naman na yun na ikaw yung mother nila. Or for your spouses, it's your marriage certificate. For your unmarried partners, dito yung mga medyo magulo. Like, yung mga may caveats. So, yung parents, for example, all you need then is yung birth certificate mo naman and then yung marriage certificate ng parents mo. Or if wala, then that's fine. You just have to explain that on the letter of intent. So, definitely, yun yung ano dyan. Ngayon, yung dun sa tatlo na medyo nanganganib. Yung unmarried partners, adult kids, and your non-elderly parents. So dito sa tatlong to, yun yung medyo may sobra-sobra na documents. You can get the full list of the documents sa free na DIY guide natin. It's link in my bio. But definitely for your unmarried partners, you need affidavit of cohabitation, meaning you guys have been living together. You guys need to present an affidavit of joint domestic partnership, meaning nag-share kayo sa bills, nag-share kayo sa household, you have maybe can open a joint bank account, you have maybe other like proof like your barangay certificate having the same address, that type of stuff. So definitely I would suggest to download the DIY guide if you're doing it DIY, and of course to book your free consultation call if you want that, kasi definitely dito sa case na to with your dependent, medyo shaky siya, and I don't want you guys, like I said, like for me, I'd love if like lahat kayo ng family mo makakapunta dito. So definitely yon. Another thing with unmarried partners that sometimes some people prepare, but to be honest, this is not kasi a tourist visa application. So I don't really like recommend it unless it's for a specific circumstance. Which is yung parang collage daw ng proof of relationship nyo. Technically kasi, itong proof of relationship, medyo Schengen visa lang talaga siya needed. So with the DNV, they don't really look about that. They're more about like government documents, like mga documents na talagang okay, ito proof galing siya sa government na itong dalawang to they're cohabitating, they are parang common law partners, 'di ba? So yun yung kailangan talaga nila. So save yourself the effort of doing that kung hindi naman, kung sa consulate naman kayo mag-a-apply. Another thing na medyo nangangadib, yung adult na kids. So ito, what we've done so far is to present as much as possible na tong kid na to, yung NBI clearance, yung mga documents, IDs niya, lahat nakapangalan dun kung saan nakatira yung main applicant or the family itself. And then of course, kailangan din dito ipakita na kung meron siyang sariling bank account, kung may GCash siya, ganyan, na nagpapadala ka like monthly or weekly ng para alam na financially dependent sa'yo yung kid mo. And then of course, to also make it a point na sabihin na unemployed siya. So how you can do this is to get the certificate of indigency, either sa munisipyo nyo or sa barangay hall. So, para lang makita na unemployed siya, he's still maybe in school. So, if he's in school, that's another plus kasi maybe mapakita mo na ikaw yung nagbabayad ng tuition fee, that type of stuff. Other than that, the last one is with your parents. So, yung sa parents mo naman na hindi elderly, ito yung medyo difficult. So, it would really depend on the situation. But you need to provide proof of physical dependency, meaning you guys are living together for a while now, like maybe 2-3 years more. And then of course, medical dependency. So you need a doctor's note. If kaya na DOH mapa-certify, then that would be even better, especially if it's a chronic illness. And then the next one is so physical dependency, medical dependency, financial dependency. So if you're paying for anything for your mom or your dad, then definitely kailangan to na maipakita mo. So it's a lot of paperwork, and like I said, kailangan most ng mga documents na to is ma-apostle or mapa-RTC, mapakana, yung parang idadala sa regional trial court, yung document na affidavit, tapos tsaka siya ipapa-apostle. So make sure magawa nyo lahat yun, kasi itong tatlo na to talaga medyo nanganganib talaga sila, like as family member, yung pag-connect ng proof of relationship mo sa kanila. Other than that, aside from proof of relationship, you also have to show the proof of solvency, which is meaning parang kaya mo silang isupport. So this you can just do. So since technically sabay-sabay kayong nagpasa, ang ipapakita mo na lang, hindi mo na ipapakita yung invoices, bank statement mo, yung bank certificate mo na lang, yung i-attach mo sa application nila. Since magkakasama naman yung application nyo. So, para hindi na rin, like, save Mother Earth, sayang yung papel. Kasi with this document, trust me, I've seen clients na kailangan i-print yung mga documents. Mga ganit talaga siya kakapal. Depende kung ilan sila, ilan yung client, ganyan. So, dami-dami talaga yung ipiprint. So, definitely, make sure na ma-ready mo then yung sarili mo with that. Because I tell people to just buy a printer. Kahit yung mura-mura lang sa Shopee, yung mga 3K. Kasi aabutin din kayo ng ganun. Sa kaka-print, kaka-scan. Kuha kayo ng may printer scanner para din pagkadating ng documents, mas-scan nyo na lagi yung copy. Para meron kayo laging digital copy of it. Ayun. Let's answer some questions for now before we move on. For solo parent, need pa ba ng letter from biological father ng bata? Just because you said biological father, so if you're the mom, no, you don't need that. But make sure to be aware na minsan kailangan ng travel clearance for minors. High question, you applied for DNV kahit 3 months pa lang into freelancing. No, so I don't think anyone can reach the minimum income requirement with just 3 months in freelancing. That's just setting yourself up for failure. So with me, I've been in the business like 6 years, going on 7 years. But definitely, it took me a while before I reached that minimum income requirement. So wag kayo mawalan ng hope na this can be for you as well. Other than that, kailangan i-show na 3 years ba remote worker, needs to be proven talaga. Right now, yes. So right now they've been getting more stricter. Though, like, I posted a video about the important update. I couldn't really like give you proper advice yet. Let's just evaluate muna tong mga pending na cases before I give proper advice, because I am all about giving the information, but I'm also all about giving the proper information. Kasi right now, this is a fairly new update. To be honest, there was no press con about it. There was no like post about it in the governmental website. It was just a pattern that we are now seeing like as consultants na tinatanong na talaga tong document na to, either DTI registration mo as sole proprietor or BIR certificate of registration mo. I did a post on this on the Facebook page din naman. Or of course, yung sa SSS mo. So, depende kung ano yung available na meron ka ngayon, yun yung pwede mong sundan. But definitely, iba-iba yung magiging um, atake, like strategy, ganyan. Depende kung ano yung meron ka. Pero another way to prove that you have been a remote worker for 3 years is i-compile mo yung COE mo na available. Kahit old yan, hindi mo kailangan mag-request ng bago. Kahit yung mga old clients mo, ma-compile mo siya. Another good is like Upwork. Yung yung certificate from Upwork also worked for one of my clients because like it's a proper na website talaga siya galing. So they just trust it more like that kasi ang dali lang naman mameke ng COE, 'di ba? So yun, definitely that is that. What is one truth about life that you wish more people understood? I guess with the related with this is that migrating will not be easy. It's not just a financial decision. It is gonna be an emotional one. So everything kasi that you grew up with and stuff, unless you are really like travel a lot and you've been residing for like other countries na before, I think migrating, especially at such like in your 20s, because I'm still in my like early 20s. So it's gonna be a lot of adjustment kasi hindi lang yun yung magbabago sa buhay mo. Like, ang dami ring nangyari sa life mo, in the background. So, yun lang. I wish people would understand that and to not take it like lightly. Other than that, hi sis, for DNV, if I don't have a client but I have a business, pwede din po ba ito? So, depending po yan sa business nyo. Kailangan, kasi technically kasi, business owners cannot apply. However, you can be kasi an independent contractor or a remote employee of your own business. So, kailangan corporation tong business mo. Kailangan hindi nila malaman na sa'yo nakapangalan or sa business mo talaga to. Ayun, yung photos po ba ina-accept as proof of relationship plus affidavit of cohabitation? What I would suggest yung i-attach mo sa affidavit of cohabitation mo is barangay certificate, maybe contract nyo sa rental agreements, just any proof that you guys have actually been living together. Maybe documents, na same yung address nyo sa mga ID nyo, ganyan. So that's definitely another thing. Um, how to apply po. So this is a very general question. So definitely check out the DIY guide or the Ate in Spain website. So it's ateinspain.com. So it's ATEINSPAIN.com. Na-check. Na ano pa ako no, na spelling check. Ayun. Okay. Pwede po bang mag-consult earlier than the book schedule? Nag-book po ako ng consultation with you, but January pa. So, right now kasi, I'm only, like, I trust me guys, it's just I'm just one person. So right now I'm taking 5 calls a day. Like 5 calls a day yan. And usually I reserve, even though I say 30 minutes, usually it goes on for like 45 minutes or more, for each client. So, tao lang din ako. So, ang dami talaga. Like, I try my best na pag may nag-cancel doon, or I try na, yun nga, if hindi magko-confirm, we'll cancel the schedule and then we'll open up the schedule for other, like para mapa-early yung iba. But for now, that's the only really option. We do, of course, have the emergency consultation, but that's paid. And hindi rin siya like fixed. Like, kailangan niyo kami i-email if you do, need the emergency consultation. Then we can open this up. We open this up because a lot of people, for example, like nag-apply na sila and then oh my god, may additional requirement, I don't know what to do, ayoko na mag DIY, like can I get on a call with you? So we do this paid consultation now, but generally the free consultation naman, if ever my earlier, like my earlier slot na mag-open, I'll definitely open it up to you guys. Other than that, paano po pag project-based yung freelance work? Like, walang fixed monthly income amount. So, that would be generally, like, hard because they want to see na stable siya. They want to see the stability na you've been here like a year, na you are, like, yung sa client mo na to, hindi siya masyadong shaky, ganyan. So, definitely, yung fixed monthly income amount, as long siguro hindi siya bababa with the minimum income requirement, pwede. Pero kung bababa siya ng minimum income requirement, then that's hard to like justify. Okay, ikaw po ba before sa consulate ka nag-apply ng DMV? Yes, applied on the consulate first. So like that's why I say to my clients na nag-apply directly in Spain, this is such a brave thing to do. Because even me, I've been visiting the EU because my partner lives in the EU. So I'd visit it fairly like often, like twice a year. But we still decided na sa consulate mag-apply kasi I was like, oh my God, I have to bring my dog with me. Like, I had like 5 na 35 kilo bags with me. And I still have stuff, kasi medyo hoarder ako. So, I still have stuff in the Philippines. So, I was like, tatapusin ko yung rental agreement ko, ibebenta ko to, ganyan. And for me I came from a poor family background. And all of the stuff that I have, even microwave, is so like, I'm so attached to it kasi like, uy, naalala ko pa kung kailan ko yung binili. So, like, eto, na second hand to, ganyan. So, it was hard for me to let go of those things. So, I still applied in the consulate first. And then, pagkarating dito, around that time kasi, nung like last year pa, pwede ka agad mag-apply for the 3 years pagkarating mo dito. Ngayon kasi nagkakaroon na talaga ng problem na hindi na pinaprocess ng UHE if meron ka pang 1 year. They're waiting na kailangan daw at like 60 days before the expiration of your visa or like close to 60 days before the expiration of your visa. But generally, I tell people at least 90 days before ka mag-apply kasi meron i-account for mo yung processing time. Okay, and then I think that's all the questions so far. Okay, I think there's questions now here ulit sa baba. Um, is there a free call to check if this is for us? I have a group of 5 people interested to consult po. So definitely we have the free consultation call naman. It's the link in my bio and it's also on the website. So as long as it says sa contract ko, my start date was XX to 2021 is enough proof na I've been working for more than 3 years na remotely. Technically before, yes, like when I applied, that was all the proof they needed, but right now it's also good to keep backup plans in place. For example, if you've been paying your social security contributions, or if you've been paying your income tax returns, then it's a good, yun yung mas better na proof. But of course, that's also a proof in itself talaga. Parang hirap na talaga ng requirements for digital nomad visa. I might take a different pathway. Yeah, it's starting to really get difficult. Medyo mas mahirap na talaga lately. I think not only because nagpalitan yung UHE director, and actually itong UHE director na to is one of the proponents of DNV. So, ayun. So I think there's always updates pag napapalitan yung director, usually around this time, din yung nangyari like last year. And usually around that time, on August, when they're like thinning out the herd kasi short staff sila. Ayun, hi, super higpit mo sa minimum income requirement, like hindi nakaabot 190K, nasa 150K lang po. Mahigpit sila, and I won't advise you to try unless mahit mo yung minimum income requirement. Kasi mahigpit talaga sila diyan, eh. Kasi yan yung parang set in stone na ito yung minimum income requirement dapat. Even nga yung mga I've heard a case where yung commissions hindi nila kinount. Kahit malaki yung commissions talaga niya consistently, hindi yun na-count. So kailangan pa niya mag-reapply, tapos inano na lang yun ng client na base pay talaga kasama yung commissions. Been your follower dahil sa new announce ITR SSS, nag-restart ako ASAP since June pa kami mag-submit application. Yeah, definitely it is a adjustment. That's why with people then that are applying so far ahead, I tell them na okay, I'll do the free consultation call. Like, let's get all your questions out there. Let's see if you're qualified or ano yung mga kailangan mo i-prepare beforehand. But if you're applying like next year, let's book you another call for like when medyo closer na to that application date, kasi who knows, maybe I'll be giving you outdated information, and around that time iba na yung mangyari kasi it really changes. It's a, I think with all visas it's kind of like that then naman. So yeah, definitely, ayun, tumira po ako sa Malaysia for 3 years via work visa, but since Feb this year I quit my job. Then maybe you can present your income tax return from Malaysia. It doesn't have to be kung nasa Philippines, 'di ba? So pwedeng income tax return mo sa Malaysia. That's what we did with one of our Canadian clients, na yung binabayaran niya sa Canada, yun yung pinresent namin as proof that yung work experience niya. If may relevant degree po with work, how many years ang required na experience? Not really. Wala siyang required na na work experience if relevant yung degree mo. We've had a client na kakagraduate na lang, congratulations, nung 2024. And then 7 months lang siya kay client and she got approved. Is it okay to have multiple sources of remote work income basta ang total meets the minimum income requirement? Yes, however, if more than four, medyo mahirap yun i-argue. Kasi it looks like it's unstable, and also that's a lot of documents you have to prepare and they have to sift through. And I think that's why. Kasi technically sa rules, wala namang ganon. Wala namang sinasabi na, hindi pwede yung masyadong madami. But we're seeing a pattern na pag sobra ng, for example, 5 yung clients, ganyan, medyo mas, sila, mas stricter. Ayun, how much would it be for the consultation? So, it is a free consultation call naman. Yung paid emergency consultation is just if like you are really in a rush. Because I can open up, I can check in my end if like, okay, baka pwede ako ng gabi dito. Because technically, I just work like also my 9 to 5 kasi, I want to have a life then. And also, I still have to do my clients then and stuff like that. So if ever like hindi ka free dun sa 9 to 5 ko during CET, like Central European time, then I open yung times nun. Or for example, like really in a pinch and kailangan talaga. So I would ask you to like email me like the reason why you need the emergency consultation, and um email mo kung ano yung time na available ka. And once we reach, okay, pwede ako dito ng time na to, I will send you a confirmation nung call, and then you can send me yung payment confirmation. But it's like 40 euros, and it can go towards then nung babayaran mo with if you're gonna get my services. Ayun. Other than that, then transition for freelancing. I've been a freelancer since 2021 though. Yeah, definitely. Puwedeng kailangan ngayon mag-ano ka na talaga kasi nung Feb ka 'di ba? So baka puwede mong ihabol yung annual income tax return mo for 2025. Not necessarily kasi ignorance of the law excuses no one, 'di ba? So hindi puwedeng i-reason out mo na, kaya ako walang ITR kasi galing akong Malaysia. But when you started working ulit nung nasa Philippines ka na kasi freelancer ka na ulit, ba't hindi ka nag-file, 'di ba? Yun yung baka itanong. So better if i-file mo yung this year mo income tax return. I think naman medyo maliit lang yung if ever na late payment kasi quarterly dapat yun eh. Um, what if my client ka na full-time with 12 months contract, salary is, oh my God, I guess that, ayan. What if my client ka na full-time with 12 months contract, salary is 150k pesos, tapos may part-time? Then yeah, you can present two clients, yung full-time mo and part-time. Yeah, pwede mo siyang pagsamahin to complete the 190k. Hi, ate, possible ba mag-change status from DNV to employment visa? Yeah, of course. But the employment visa here in Spain is notoriously hard to get. Just because your company or your client has to do basically most of the work for you. Like sila talaga yung kailangan mag-petition sa'yo for your work visa. What if ma-end off contract po sa client while in Spain pa po? So, they understand that freelancing is not stable and income fluctuates, tumataas babayan. But for the sake of you getting the citizenship, I would say to still pay the taxes. So that's why I say kahit hindi kailangan ng savings with the DNV, it's good to have savings. Kasi in case, at least mabayaran mo pa din yung taxes mo, and you have enough time to find another client para ma-meet mo ulit yung minimum income requirement. How to apply digital nomad visa po. So we have couple of videos here on TikTok and also on our website, yung step by step. We have the free do it yourself guide for the DNV, and we have all it's chock full of information. We also had the live last week, and it's posted on YouTube yung full na live. So you can definitely go through that first so that yung answer ko sa question is very specific. Otherwise, a long answer to that question. How much po yung income requirements if my one dependent? So, depending saan ka mag-a-apply. If you're applying in the Philippines right now, like this year, it would be around 2,800. Yeah, as far as I can remember, it's around 2,800 euros per month. And then if dito ka sa Spain mag-a-apply, it's 3,799 euros per month for one single applicant plus one dependent. However, magtataas yan. At the end of January, dahil sinabi ko yung computation kanina, nakabase siya sa SMI or yung minimum wage nila. Every year dito nagtataas yung minimum wage nila. Ina-adjust yan based on their economy. So, before, it's about 3 to 5% yung tinaas for the like last 2 years. So, I tell people na mag-a-apply early next year to take account na na kailangan medyo sobrahan nyo siya sa minimum income requirement. Hala, regarding multiple clients, I have 6 po, but long-term na sila sa akin. 6 years, 4 years, 3, tapos almost 1 year. So, yung problem kasi nila dito is, if kailangan mo ng ganun kadaming clients to meet the minimum income requirement, then that means isa lang yung mawala sa yung client, magdidip sa yung client, magdidip ka na. Maybe okay yung 6 if marami kang dependents. If let's say tatlo yung dependents mo and stuff, then definitely, kasi it makes sense, kasi malaki yung kailangan mong i-meet na minimum income requirement. But generally, I won't advise you to do it that way. Pwede mag-apply ng DNV kung ang work experience ay sa corporate. Yeah, like we've had another client na 2 years siya sa, or matagal na siya sa corporate to be honest, pero like 2 years yung like full-time employee siya sa corporate na may COE talaga siya and stuff. And then one year and a little bit na siya sa freelancing. And then we were able to argue yung 3 years na work experience through that. Ayun. Just asking, is there a path for lawyers who do consultancy job for clients? Yeah, of course. But the thing here is, since you are doing very short-term contracts, what I would suggest is to have a corporation that kind of pays you. So for now, maybe ang process mo in the Philippines is you're a sole proprietorship. So I would go na gawin mo siyang corporation, and then you're paying yourself as an independent contractor or as a full-time remote employee. Ayun. Um, Sorry, hindi ko na-catch regarding ITR. Need siya sa application ng DNV. For the income tax return in the consulate, chine-check talaga siya. Like, you have to be showing your ITR. Ngayon, recently, may update. You can watch the new video that I made about the update and ano yung parang workaround dito. Kasi they are asking for a registration as a self-employed individual here or there in the Philippines. So, tinatanong na yun here sa pag-apply din ng DNV dito sa Spain directly. So, there are other documents that maybe you can present, like your SSS mo, kailangan voluntary siya, or you can also present your DTI, business registration as a sole proprietor, or yung BIR, certificate of registration mo. How much po need na savings to move there comfortably? I would say, kung comfortably talaga, at least 500,000 para may bayad ka na sa maghanap ng agent mo. Of course, you can um, pick kung ano yung maganda na date for your flight. If you have to move all of your belongings, then marami kang gamit, then you have enough money to do so. And then, of course, so that you have savings pa din pagkarating mo dito. Ayun, thank you so much po. No worries. Thank you so much for saying thank you. Ayun. Possible po ba na I will go there muna? Hoy, Grimlin, ano yan? Ano yung comment na yan? Girl, wag mo ko i-compare doon. Hindi ako, at all, like, girl, hindi ako bayaran ng, politician. Ayan, possible po ba na I will go there muna after is digitally. So yeah, that's what people do when you're applying directly here in Spain. So pupunta mo na sila as tourist or visit visa, and then they change that to DNV. Is it advisable na mag-tourist muna to Spain before mag-DNV? Yeah, exactly. That's what I just explained. Kasi yun talaga yung usually, di ba? Like parang, oh, she's a, like parang digital nomad. Talaga, like to travel. And then you want you fell in love with Spain and you want to stay in Spain. So then you apply, ganyan. But definitely with our clients, parang pagkarating pa lang dito, like, inaano na namin, like, ina-apply na namin kaagad. I missed it po regarding multiple clients. We're a family of 4 po, tapos June sana plan namin earning 350K. Yeah, allowed naman yung multiple clients. Thanks po. Oh, thank you for saying thank you. You're so nice. How about po yung sa NLV? What do you mean about NLV? I'm not a consultant for a non-lucrative visa. I've only handled like 3 clients or 3 families for the non-lucrative visa, so I don't offer it pa as a paid thing because I'm not completely like very well researched about it. But definitely that can be for the future. But right now I just want to focus more like sa DNV kasi ito din yung talaga yung passion ko eh, like with bringing, freelancers here kasi I feel like main problem ng VAs or freelancers in the Philippines is that no job natin, and then at the same time wala tayong coverage for any social security and stuff like that. That isang sakit lang, wala na lahat yung savings mo, and then nawawalan ka pa ng client kasi nakapag-absent ka, ganun. So definitely talaga, yun talaga yung main focus ko. But definitely, NLV can be like maybe for next year. Do I need to exit po after acquiring the DNV if I came in as a tourist? No, you don't need to. But kailangan dire-diretsuhin mo na i-process yung physical residence permit mo or yung tawag is TIE or Tarjeta de Identidad de Extranjera. Okay, and salamat po. Oh, thank you so much. You guys are so nice. Appreciate you, ate. Oh, uy, wag kayong mag-thank you. Baka umiyak ako. Malapit na yung birthday ko and I'm feeling all the emotions of spending my like second birthday away from my family. Even though, I don't usually do big birthdays or anything like that even growing up, but definitely I'm getting all the feels because sobrang layo nila, and then they just greet me on Facebook. I'm like, oh, don't do that. Ayun, but definitely with your friends and family not here, it's giving me the emotional side. That's why absent din ako on my birthday, so I'll spend that day on that day on my own. But yeah, let's go back to topic after answering all of your wonderful questions. Let's go back yung sa UHE kasi it is a little bit more complicated yung application sa UHE if like with your family. Not that I'm scaring you guys. Like it is still straightforward, but meron kasi sa iba, 'di ba? Ako na lang muna yung magta-travel doon as tourist, i-apply ko na silang lahat or sabay-sabay ba kami kailangan pumunta doon, gano'n. So, generally kasi, since pupunta ka as a tourist, to be honest, unless you have a very good profile, I suggest to come with at least one member of your family para maganda yung intention mo to travel. Because who travels on their own if they have, their partner with them, if they have, they have their kids. So, much better talaga on your profile sa Schengen Tourist Visa, nakasama mo yung family mo magta-travel. Kasi sino nga naman magti-TNT, 'di ba? Nakasama mo yung yung anak mo, ganyan, or kasama niyo ng asawa mo yung anak nyo. So, definitely mas better way to go ang may kasama kang family member. However, for iba, alam ko naman na medyo kinakabahan kayo, anxious kayo na isama lahat, baka masayang yung pera, yung ganyan. So definitely, if pupunta kayo mag-isa, then what I would suggest, isabay nyo na din yung application ng family members nyo. Tapos, sabay-sabay kayo halos magkakaroon ng approval. Sometimes, delayed yung approval nila. Like, it takes a day or two yung approval nila dumating. But definitely, at least approved na sila. However, since the UHE application is fully digital, which you would have known if you read the DIY guide, you watch my videos, it's all completely digital. So, online lahat siya. Ang marireceive mo lang, PDF. So, wala yung biometrics or anything. So, it's not enough for this document to get you in and out of the Schengen area. So, what I would suggest, in this case, na kunyari hindi mo kasama yung family mo, yung ikaw, pwede kang magstay dito, make sure to get your TIE or your physical residence card para maganda din siyang additional proof na nandito ka na sa Spain, nandito ka na like nagre-reside, and then send yung copy niyan and then yung PDF copy on your to your family in the Philippines, and kailangan nilang mag-apply ng DNV as family member sa BLS pa din. So, it can be in BLS Cebu or BLS Manila. But, case in point, before kasi ina-accept na Schengen visa lang yung gagamitin nila pabalik. But now, kailangan yung 1-year DNV yung gamitin nila pabalik. However, just to not confuse you guys, they still get the 3 years. Ito lang kasi, if hindi sila pumasok dito, like, Residencia Fuera de España, yung nila, pag apply, meaning yan, the residence is not in Spain or wala sila sa Spain at the time of application, ang kailangan nila pumasok talaga ay yung 1-year DNV. Pero pag kumuha na sila ng TIE or yung physical residence permit, 3 years pa din yung nakalagay doon. So kung ano yung validity ng reswelto nila or yung approval letter, yung PDF na sinabi ko, yun pa din yung ifa-follow. So I hope that makes sense. It is a little bit like medyo magulo, pero definitely I hope that makes sense. However then, for example, ikaw, single applicant ka or like meron kang dependent, sabay-sabay kayo pumunta ng Philippines. And then ayaw nyo na mag-overstay, medyo natagalan yung paglabas ng results, paubos na yung Schengen visa days nyo. You can do 2 things. A, it is legal to overstay as long as you are inside of Spain kasi you're waiting for your residence application. Pag exit mo, kailangan mo lang ipakita yung letter na maybe na-denied kayo if madadenay kayo, if need nyo pa mag-exit. Or pwedeng dire-diretso na nandun na kayo. So, di ba? So, kung nag-overstay kayo and then na-approve kayo, then all good. Dire-diretso na kayo kumuha ng TN nyo, yung physical residence permit and all that. Or for example, nag-exit kayo very early on, hindi kayo nag-overstay, yun yung option B. And then, na-approve kayo. Ngayon, paano kayo babalik? Like I said, yung approval letter nyo is hindi enough to get you inside of Spain. And let's say single entry lang yung Schengen visa nyo, hindi multiple entry. So, if multiple entry yung Schengen visa nyo, pwede kayong bumalik directly. Kung single entry lang yung Schengen visa nyo, kailangan nyo pa rin mag-apply ng either yung 1-year DNV, na ipapakita nyo na lang yung approval letter nyo, hindi na siya masyadong madaming documents na ipepresent. Or, of course, pwede din na kumuha kayo ng another Schengen visa. Tapos, depending on this, pwede na kayong pumasok kaagad ng Spain. However, like I said, baka kasi syempre mapopost to and the internet is forever. You have to check back on me if you're watching this like 3-4 months from now because they do change this up. Before kasi Schengen lang din kahit hindi wala ka sa Spain na nag-apply or wala sa Spain yung dependents mo na nag-apply, nung nag-apply ka. Before ang Schengen lang din enough na siya para makabalik inside of Spain. But now they've changed that up. Kailangan 1-year DNV talaga if hindi kasama yung main applicant. Ayun, I hope that made sense with the UHE application. But generally, there are less requirements in UHE, especially for your dependents. So you only really need, like I said, yung mga three things. So yung general requirements, yung proof of relationship, and then of course yung proof na kaya mo mag-provide sa kanila. So, it can be a form of savings, yung ilagay mo dito na, okay, ito yung proof of solvency ko. Kung wala man kayong savings, then definitely pwede mong ipakita na yung invoices and bank statements mo na ito yung pumapasok. Pero like I said, if mag-move kayo with your family, you need to have at least some savings. Kung magkano siguro yung na-anticipate yung gastos dito, at least 3 months to 6 months na savings dapat yung ano nyo dyan. Ayun, I hope that helped with regards to difference between applying in the consulate and applying sa UHE. Ngayon, I'll try and read some more questions on here. Like for example, give me a second. Ayan. Hello, Miss Alex. Possible po ba to? Apply DNV and PH, then kadating sa Spain, pwede na po ba mag-apply agad sa OHE for the 3 years? So before, it is possible, but right now, there are cases na nai-in admission siya. So, yung meaning na to is nai-in admission for processing is that hindi, like, instead of a denial letter, what they just provide you is like, hey, you have to wait for 60 days before mag-expire yung visa mo bago ka reapply. And the caveat of this, to be honest, is that right now there are still some debates whether the 1-year DNV counts for residency. So some immigration lawyer says it does. My immigration lawyer says it doesn't. I've talked to others as well, and sabi naman nila, hindi daw talaga. Or parang pwede naman daw basta nakuha mo ito. And right now, hindi ka makakuha ng with the 1-year DNV, hindi ka nga makakuha ng TIE. So, it is a lot, like, like logistic wise. So, talagang if kaya, nasa Spain mag-apply, I genuinely yun yung i-recommend ko. To apply na lang directly in Spain. It's less requirements, and I just think of it, right, try to at least like make people feel better and tell them na to think of it as a parang pupunta kayo sa Europe for a trip and at least you'll have fun and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely yun yung recommendation ko with that. And then, hello dear, not sure if it was already asked, but do you have a YouTube channel or video regarding DNV? So, I do have the free DIY guide just because I feel like with videos it is kind of harder to like explain, but I did go through the DIY guide on last week's live. So I do have a YouTube channel. It's called at Ate in Spain. So you can definitely find me there. I post the videos that I generally post here on TikTok and the long form or like the full recap of this lives. I also post it now on YouTube. And we also have a Facebook group where you can ask questions, and other DNV holders then are there. And of course, we're there then to share each other's experiences. Need ba ITR? Well, it depends. It depends talaga sa profile mo. It depends kung saan ka mag apply. But generally sa consulate, you really need your income tax return kasi tinatanong talaga nila and they're very strict with it. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Um, what is the digital nomad? Okay, give me a second because merong pa ano, may pa inactivity yung TikTok. But definitely what is this digital nomad? So digital nomads are basically like remote freelancers or remote workers. So we travel, and we don't have to really go in a physical office, ganyan. So in 2023, Spain, launched the digital nomad visa. So it's fairly new. And they launched this with the hopes of, like, of course, bringing investments and of course expats or remote workers here in Spain. You pay social security and taxes. It's like a win-win, and you get to reside here. As Filipinos, it's good for us, and of course for other Latin American countries na magstay dito or mag-reside dito with the digital nomad visa. Kasi after 2 years, you qualify for applying for citizenship or nationality by residence. So, I hope that answers your question. Hi, Miss Alex. Thanks po lahat ng advice. Very helpful po. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's so nice. Baka umiyak ako niyan. Thank you, Miss Alex. Oh, no worries. Thank you then so much for joining the live. Um, Ayun. But other than that, if you guys have like any questions, just leave them down below. Wala namang problema. But let's move on dun sa requirement difference with UHE and consulate. The really main difference na hindi kailangan sa UHE compared sa consulate is, for example, medical clearance. Hindi yun kailangan yung medical, yung DOH certification with your medical clearance. Hindi yun kailangan when you're applying here in UHE. And hindi rin kailangan nung private insurance coverage. The private insurance coverage kasi kailangan siya when you're applying in consulate. However, dito, hindi naman siya, optional lang siya. But of course, to make your situation like look then more stable, I would urge people to still get it. For people na nagdi-DIY, I do have yung recommendation ko din for it, and I have an affiliate link on the link in my bio. Hi, Miss Alex. Meron na po ba kayong client na LGBT couple bringing dependents? Yeah, definitely. So I've had a client, well, I don't know, but maybe because like most of my friends, are LGBT people. So I think, and I ask advice from them on my videos and stuff like that. So maybe it reaches that, but definitely a lot of LGBT couples, I've helped, but also LGBT families. So with their, like, adopted kids. And, I'm also adopted by LGBT parents. So for me, it's really special. Like I said, in the beginning of this live, that for me, it's really special when, with the digital nomad visa, that you can bring your family, like, isahan, ganon. There are still some cases with like with adoption na medyo finicky siya. So there is more requirements that gets asked, but definitely if dumaan naman siya and we have like legal documents and stuff like that, then definitely walang problem. With LGBT couples, you will fall under unmarried partners, and you can see the DIY guide, or rewatch this video on YouTube. I usually post it on Monday. Kasi sobrang busy ko pag Friday tapos pahinga Saturday, Sunday. So usually this gets posted on Monday. But we talked about the requirements, ano yung mga caveats, ganyan, nung tatlo. So unmarried partners, adult children, and yung non-elderly na parents. Ayun. Let's go to the comments. Give me a second. How can I apply? Do I need to be fluent in Spanish? No, you don't need to be fluent in Spanish. Or need a Spanish client for the Spain Digital Nomad visa. Because technically, this visa is kailangan nga outside of Spain. Hindi ka nakikipag-compete sa employment market ng Spain. So, only 20% of your total income needs to be earned from a Spanish company. So, kunyari, kung meron kang Spanish na client, as a VA, or kunyari Spanish yung employer mo, yung Spanish employer hindi yun pwede kasi 100% of your income comes from Spain. Pero kung Spanish na client, pwede naman as long as less than or 20% sakto siya ng total income mo. Hi Miss Alex, can I add my sibling as my dependent? Ayun, hindi talaga pwede pag sibling unless it's like a special case scenario where you are legally yung guardian. So you have to be legally yung guardian and kailangan mo i-explain why, like maybe if they're medically incapacitated or anything like that. But it's very difficult to get it approved. Shaina, hi ate, we miss you. Huy, ba't mo ako na-miss? Hindi ka pumunta ng live last week. We do this live every week at 7 p.m. So, wag niyo mas masyado. Pero I try to do my best, but generally, it's just, like, like, the celebration here, like, especially for the holidays, is very big. We're not even done decorating our apartment, and I'm already so tired. So, ayun, sobrang busy ko ng holiday season because, like, ang dami ring ganap namin talaga ng December. December is our, like, anniversary, and then December is also my birthday, and then Christmas, and then comes New Year. And then my dog's birthday, which we did celebrate, is around November, end of November. So, sobrang daming nangyayari. So, I'm definitely, ayun, that's why we're also taking 1 week break on the week of Christmas, para din makapagpahinga ng konti. How about parents as dependents that are retired na? So, it would really depend, but we did talk about it earlier. So, with dependents kasi na non-elderly, what they mean by elderly is dapat 80 years old or above. So, if hindi pa ganun yung parents mo, you'll have a little bit of a hard time, but you can still try. Kasi we've had clients na got approval and yung parent niya is around 50 something, like 56, 57. So definitely allowed naman yun. Oh, thank you so much, Breaks. But yeah, allowed naman yun, but you need a lot of document, like to prove your physical dependency, medical dependency, like that maybe they are legally dependent on you or they are financially dependent on you. So maraming ganun na kieme pag your parents are hindi pa yung elder. Ganon. How's the vibe there? How do local street Filipinos any racism personally? Personally, I haven't experienced it yet. Only if it counts in Europe in general, because we do travel a lot around Europe. There are homeless people that would tell ching chong, ganon. Pero wala naman like generally any hostile stuff. I think because Spanish in general are used to Filipinos being here because there are a lot of Filipinos here. Parang especially here in Barcelona, you throw a rock and you'll hit a Filipino probably. But yeah, with regards to how the local street Filipinos, the locals here are nice. I've resided or I've visited other European countries. For me, the Spanish people are generally the nicest I've encountered. As long as hindi ka din like, alam mo yun, hindi ka like, alam mo yun, hindi ka masyadong entitled and stuff. Kasi I feel like yung common concern for some Americans or British people is that like medyo they get treated rudely daw and stuff like that. But I feel like it's also maybe because they were kind of rude. So you have to like just be also warm. So hindi dito is like even with cashier, you don't really make small talk, but at least you smile and you greet them like you know like have a great day, ganyan. You just don't be rude, I feel. But locals are generally nice. Like I thought I would have really like a hard time connecting with them because like if you guys know my backstory, parang wala akong any research or anything and I just came here like wala akong research or anything about like Spain in general. It was just like I really wanted to like move abroad, so yon. Other than that, how's the vibe there? The vibe there is good. I feel it's just much more slower type of life. I don't get stuck, like in traffic, and walang, hindi ko alam if is it just I started romanticizing my life of like I can't believe, like, I still get that feeling. I've been here for like more than a year, and I still get this feeling of like, oh my god, I'm here. Like I'm not in the Philippines anymore. And I still get that feeling pa din. The vibe here is they definitely are like into the slow life, like walang hustle and bustle, that type of thing. But definitely Barcelona is very busy, especially the city center. Where we are in Barcelona is not really as busy as the city center itself, so we kind of get, like medyo we just get to enjoy Barcelona. If gusto namin na magulo yung life namin, punta kaming city center. Pero generally, it's just the parks here are quiet. You'd see people around. They're very pet friendly, which I love. Like you can generally go to any cafe and they accept pets with you. We even went to like a buffet where kasama namin yung dog namin. So, we bring him everywhere, which is really good because my dog is, ano siya nakuha ko siya, nung pandemic. So, he got may attachment issues talaga siya. Like, kailangan lagi niya ako nakikita and stuff. So, that was really good because in the Philippines, I'd always have to hire a pet sitter to stay with him, or before, like I would, like if talagang rush and kailangan kong lumabas, I'd have to go to the grocery. Talagang iyak talaga siya the whole time. So ayun, I had to put like soundproof yung apartment and stuff like that, para lang I don't want, the neighbors to think I'm like abusing him or something. But and I naawa din talaga ako sa kanya kasi yung boss niya ganun, mapapaos na ganun. But yeah, I like the vibe here generally with how they accept women and like foreigners, and usually kasi yung hostile sila medyo sa mga white people ganun. Kasi parang with the golden visa, alam niyo yun, yung if familiar kayo dun sa golden visa here in Spain, yung ginamit ni Bea Alonzo, yung she bought a property here and she was able to reside here and stuff. A lot of Americans or British people bought a lot of mga residential dito. Tapos ayun, parang na price out na yung parang basically na gentrify yung mga communities. What? Water? Thank you. Ayan, last na po, saan ba nagpapa-apostle at translate? So, with apostle, kung saan yung origin country nung document mo, dun siya i-apostle. So, if sa Philippines, sa DFA yan. If sa ibang bansa, like yung mga certificate of good standing, doon, kung ano yung equivalent ng DFA. And then sa translation, you can find, I also have it on the DIY guide, yung website here in Spain where they list out yung name and ng official translators and interpreters here in Spain, and nandun din yung contact info nila. How much po aabutin? It then generally depends sa case mo, if how many yung, oh, thank you so much, if ilan yung clients mo, if ilan yung documents mo, yung dependents mo, kasi per page yung iba per word yung yung gastos when it comes to like translation. And then, nice, seems Spain is really calling me, more info pa po. More information about Spain. The social security is really good. And as a person na sakitan, it's really good for me. I did keep my private insurance just because there are horror stories about public healthcare here where mabagal daw talaga and stuff. So in case for me na kunyari I need to get this check, ganyan, I go. But it's good here kasi like for example for women and children, they're very like keen on like ano yung like for example yung mga like vaccines na need and stuff like that, especially for like children. The like there's public schools here where you don't pay anything for public schooling ng kids. there are parks everywhere, which we really love because we like going outside. Because I've been a remote worker, like I said, for like 6 years. So I've always been laging nasa bahay and living in the UPLB campus. There is always like a place that you can chill in. But even yung ano doon is just a big field. It's like a big field, wala talagang like seesaw or anything. And here they love that. They love putting seesaws everywhere. It's very like kid friendly. But also the places are very pet friendly, which I really like. Other than that, besides siguro like social security and that, for me, yung transportation is really, really good. We pay like 21 euros for like our monthly unlimited train or metro card, and covered yun I think like for one region ng Barcelona. So buses and trains covered non, and we just have the card. You can have the card physically or pwede mo siya download yung app. But for me generally, dala ko dalawa both. Tapos you just scan it pag pumapasok ka ng bus or ng train, and it's very good. Can you tell us more about the required income? So we did talk about this like very early on, and I do have a video pinned in my comment section. But generally, yung required income is that, yes, of course, allowed multiple clients. It is before taxes. So, for example, if na-tax ka, malaking tax minsan, ganyan, hindi yun yung i-count nila. I-count nila yung before taxes. And then, of course, with the required income, paano siya kino-compute? We've already talked about that as well. Na 200, yung for the single applicant, it's 200% times the SMI or yung minimum wage here in Spain. Right now, that's around 2,363 if you're applying in the consulate, and it's 2,763 euros if you're applying here directly in Spain. Thank you po. You've been really helpful. Oh, thank you so much. Number 5 fan. Oh, thank you so much, Choco. Yung mga malls, shop, restaurants po ba maagang nagsasara? Not necessarily, but they do close in weird times. So it I'm still trying to get used to it, and I've been here like more than a year na. So I'm still getting used to it. But yung malls, no, generally nakabukas sila. Pero for example, like shops and restaurants, meron silang siesta. They take that very seriously. And for me, especially yung time difference before, and I'm still getting used to it, ang gising ko is around 12, and if hindi ako lalabas kaagad, sarado na yung stuff. Like, sarado pa yung mga restaurant. And then, mag-open ulit sila mga 6 na or mga later in the day. But generally, you'll always find something. Especially if you live in the city, here in Barcelona. Yung sabi nila sa iba daw na regions of Spain, sarado siya pag Sunday, ganyan. But here, generally in Barcelona, everything pretty much stays open. Ayun. But generally talaga, like, yung Sunday, wala talaga. Like, right now, like, if ever I travel in other parts of Europe, it's just something you get used to, na sarado yung mga stuff in Sunday, which is very good. My partner who lived here for almost like 7, 8 years, um, gave me a very great perspective on this, that isn't that good that those people na work in the restaurant or work in the service industry generally are also taking their break on Sunday. So it's like it's super fair. Hindi kagaya like in the Philippines where kahit sa holidays, like people are working, that type of stuff. So that's a really great perspective, to put into the thing. Kasi, I feel like tama nga naman, gano'n, 'di ba? So, maganda din dito, wala yung nagbubukas ng pintuan, ganyan. Kasi, they pay their people a livable wage. So, kung livable wage, the corporations do not need so many extra na, like, trabaho na it doesn't make sense. Like for example, like sa Philippines, may tagabukas ng pinto, and then like ganun, like generally hindi mo naman kailangan ng tagabukas ng pinto, 'di ba? So parang nilalagay lang 'yon as an extra thing, and they underpay. But that's for another rant. Nag-rant pala. But ayun, la dami na viewer ni ate dati ilan lang kami nanonood. Oh my God, totoo. So I'm really grateful. Like, I don't know what I should do for the end of year yet, but definitely feeling all the emotions and how grateful I am to have the platform to help, like these people. Like, we were on the other day we were updating the dashboard and like, my SAS and all that. So we were updating it and we were like, oh my God, I can't believe I've reached like 600 calls na free consultation calls, and now we've even upped the ante and we're accommodating like 5 calls a day na free. So we were like really proud of that, and it's just a lot. Like, I couldn't believe it's gotten to that point. Do you have an idea or estimate of cost of living per month for a single person in Madrid or Barcelona? So I am a single person, technically speaking. So my partner comes and goes because he's still living in Germany. But generally, for me, kung mag-isa lang ako, to be honest, I feel like around 1,200 euros is enough for everything, like utilities, bills, rent, ganyan. Pero sinasabi ko sa inyo, it will heavily rely sa rent nyo. Yun talaga, kung makakuha kayo ng mura na rent, talagang sobrang laki ng pahinga nyo when it comes to like paying for stuff. Kasi yung groceries, ganyan, utilities, it's kind of similar if you're living alone already in the Philippines. Like dito nga, medyo mas mura pa yung internet, and their internet is better. It's about like 300 Mbps or something. So sobrang bilis niya. So it's about 25 euros, and then I think we pay 30 kasama na yung phone plan. So, sobrang goods talaga siya with utilities and bills. I think yung medyo mahal lang dito, generally speaking, is yung electricity, but it's still not like very like big na difference. Kasi sa UK, mostly mga malls or shops maaga nagsasara lalo pag hindi sa city area. Yeah, that is true. Like here, like when we visited Alicante, and ayun, nakita talaga namin like some places really close, and we're like, ganun. Pero sa Barcelona kasi I got used to na yung Mercadona laging bukas. And minsan may Mercadona dito na until I think 10 or 11 yung open nila. Ayun. How much po ang rent nyo? So, it is unfair to compare my rent to what is available now, because like I said, this rent kasi para kaming ano dito eh. Like, so we're so blessed kasi parang rent, hindi naman siya rent control, pero parang na-control yung rent kasi ang tagal na dito no sister-in-law ko. Like, back in her college days pa siya dito. So, nung pinasa sa'min yung apartment, parang mabait naman yung owner to just keep ni-raise niya lang ng konti because we have a pet with us. But yeah, it's a two-bedroom and we're paying about 750, which I feel is like super fair. Kasi usually dito, if you're living in a shoebox, parang 1,000 ganun yung singil nila per month. And we didn't have to pay much down payment, parang 1 month lang or 2 months, like 1 month down payment. Tapos 1 month na um tawag dun? Security deposit. Ayun. But yeah, generally, it's nice, but I wouldn't recommend living in the city that much unless talaga you live alone or makahanap ka talaga ng good deal, then it's good to live in the city. Or especially if kunyari may partner ka, and for example, talagang ano, meron siyang mahanap na work na maganda in the city, then definitely, like, grab that chance na sa Barcelona kayo or Madrid. Kasi maganda talaga marami talagang jobs dito. Not just jobs, pati mga racket, marami dito sa Barcelona and Madrid. Pero sa mga small cities, wala masyado. How to apply? I think we have that answer dun sa free DIY guide natin on the website. Question, do I really need to stay in Spain while having the nomad visa, or I can travel or stay anywhere? No, so it would depend what's your goal. If your goal is keeping the digital nomad visa, you only need here to be staying here for more than 183 days out of the year if you want to keep your residency. Second, if you want to apply for permanent residency, apparently you just need to keep your going in and out of the country maximum for 60 days. But if you're a Filipino and you want to apply for nationality by residence, which is, the citizenship here in Spain, then you have to keep it under 45 days out of the whole year. So it has to be like really like mababa. Ayon. But other than that, ayon, thank you for sending all your questions. That's really nice. Oh, thank you then so much. Yeah. Ayon. Going back 45 days out of Spain in a year. Yeah. So if you're gonna go visit other places, then definitely 45 days lang. No, 45 days out of Spain. So, pag pupunta ka, lalabas ka ng Spain, dapat not more than 45 days. Yeah. The staying inside of Spain is only if you want to keep the residency, but you're not going to be applying for citizenship or permanent residency. Then yeah, you can just stay here 183, more than 183 days out of the year, which is just like para lang din maging tax resident ka dito. Is it required to learn Spanish? No. So you don't have to learn Spanish if you're applying for the Spain Digital Nomad Visa. However, you have to learn Spanish if you're applying for citizenship. Ayun. Cumulative in a year ba yan? Yeah, exactly. So 45 days in a like sa buong year. So talagang cumulative siya. So you have to really stay here because they're gonna ask you like if you're really integrated and stuff like that if you're applying for citizenship, which I feel is super fair because it's 2 years and like what really can you do in that 2 years to really integrate if you're not staying here for a long time. So how do you even like know your neighbors, diba? Kung lagi kang wala dito, ganon. So yeah, it is 45 days out of the whole year cumulative. Ayun. So pwede mo siguro gamitan 15 days, 15 days. Yun yung inisip ko, like 15 days siguro on December, 15 days on this month, ganon. So, but yeah, definitely kailangan, nandito ka most of the time. Roughly how much ang tax for a year for a minimum wage earner po? If you're hitting the minimum income requirement, you mean. So not the minimum wage, right? So if you're hitting the minimum income requirement for the Spain Digital Nomad Visa, you would be taxed probably around 19 or to 20%. So 19 to 20% ng monthly mo na kinukuha ay na kinikita, mapupunta yon sa taxes and you pay your taxes quarterly and then may adjustment for your annual return at the end of the year. So, pwede ka naman kasi mag-file din for tax deductions and stuff like that. Like for example, if bibili ka ng mga bagong stuff like laptop, computer, that type of stuff. So that's a tax deductible. 1/3 of your whole month's rent since you are a remote worker, pwede mo yun i-minus. But there's just extra loopholes with it. Ayun. But other than that, I thought I can just rent and pay taxes and can freely travel anywhere. Yeah, no, not really. Kailangan most nandito ka sa Spain. Kasi if you're aiming for citizenship, parang gusto nila like nandito ka talaga sa Spain. Like you've been here for a while, you've integrated to the community, ganon. Payroll ba dapat nasa Spain or any other countries will do? So, actually, kailangan payroll mo or yung kinikita mo is outside of Spain. So, hindi pwede yung Spanish yung client mo in freelancing or Spanish yung company mo if you're a remote employee. So, kailangan outside siya. Ayun. Other than that, if you guys have any other questions, please leave them down below. But I think we're almost done with our live. We've been here for an hour, 30 minutes na pala, no? Um, ayun, but definitely 100%, you can definitely bring your family for the Spain Digital Nomad Visa together with you. Meron lang talagang mga caveats. So better to either book a free consultation call or check out the free DIY guide on the website. That the link is in my bio naman. That's 2 years for the citizenship na stay sa Spain, 'di ba? Yeah, exactly. So 2 years residency yung kailangan mo to apply for citizenship as a Filipino or Latin American country. So, roughly for about 2 years, about 1 million in tax. Yeah, parang binili mo lang yung passport pag ganyan yung pag-count mo, VA. Pag-ipunin ko na nga yung tax fee pala. Correct. Yun yung mga uunahin mong iipunin. But yeah, generally, I don't feel like it's too bad, especially if you're enrolled in Social Security kasi nga covered yung public healthcare and stuff. But yeah, I definitely get it. If payroll mo outside in Spain, paano ka mag-pay ng taxes? So technically, you will be a tax resident. You have to be a tax resident inside of Spain. So you have, even if payroll mo is coming from, like going to your Filipino bank account, but you're residing in Spain eh. So you are a tax resident here. You have to file your taxes quarterly and yearly. So for example naman, if my worldwide income ka, let's say you have a business, like for example, like Ate in Spain files in the Philippines, technically speaking, kasi yun sa annual mo, kailangan mo yun yung parang na-earn mo from your other businesses or your other sources of income. Will they ask proof if 3 years ka na sa work mo or ITR ang proof? So, in the consulate, ITR talaga yung proof na hinihingi nila. However, dito naman sa Spain, if directly ka dito mag apply they do accept it as long as 3 years ka na kay client mo. So, contracts, COEs, ganyan. Doon mo pwede ipakita yung proof na yun. Yeah, generally, ganun siya. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's live. We're here every 7 p.m. On Fridays, and I do some random lives here and there. But generally yan yung natin, yung schedule. Just so everyone is up to speed, because we're ending the live soon. What's the update po for self-employed business owners? For self-employed business owners. So, generally kasi may business owners, hindi kayo pwede mag-apply. But with that, independent contractor kayo ng sarili nyong business or remote employee kayo ng sarili nyong business. And yeah, same goes yung application ng bagong update sa inyo na kailangan ng either DTI, BIR, COR, Certificate of Registration, or yung DTI business name registration, or kailangan ng SSS Certificate of Contribution. Ate, more than 5 years na ako. Paano hindi naka-declare buong salary ko? Is it okay ba? Kasi nga, ang inihingi lang nila either. So, pag sinasabi ko, pag undeclared yung baka pwede na yung COR lang yung ipakita nyo if dito kayo sa Spain. Pero generally, if 3 years yung ipapakita mo na annual income tax return, kailangan mag-match yan kung magkano yung kinikita mo na sinasabi mo na kinikita mo for the past 3 years if sa consulate kayo mag-a-apply. Kasi syempre, madali lang yan nila i-compare, di ba? So, kailangan consistent kasi yung documents mo talaga. Then about the tax mentioned kanina, pag andyan na ba ako, do I still need to pay taxes here sa PH? Generally, pwede naman, or pwede mong ipa-close na lang yun. So, magkakaroon ng cessation of activity ka sa Philippines. Tapos, dito ka na magbabayad ng tax. Or, pwede rin na magbayad ka pa rin ng tax sa Philippines. Tapos, kailangan mo na lang siya ipa-file na mag-make sense. Alam mo yun, kailangan mo kasi i-pay yung difference nung kinita mo or nabayaran mo na sa Philippines. But to make your life easier, mag-cessation of activity ka sa BIR and then dito ka na lang magbayad. Hola, where ka nagstay here in Spain? So right now, I am in Barcelona. But we are looking to move somewhere maybe in Alicante. Not declared pero BIR registered po as self-employed naman po. Yeah, so you just need your COR based on the new update ng requirement. Not declared po. Ano po issue lately? Bakit po mahirap i-claim yung TIE? You mean ba mahirap mag-apply ng TIE? Because yung mga 1 year DNV, technically kasi hindi mo naman kailangan ng TIE. Kasi yung point ng TIE is yung resolution mo kasi or yung approval mo for your residency here, kailangan ng biometrics. Ngayon, yung approval letter makuha mo sa OHE, wala yung biometrics. So, kailangan mo ng TIE. However, yung visa kasi na na-release sa 1 year digital nomad visa from the consulate, meron yung biometrics nun. So, technically, hindi mo kailangan ng TIE. However, alam mo naman, if nandito ka na sa Spain, kailangan yung TF for most of the governmental processes here, like opening banks, getting registered for social security and taxes. So, meron talagang disconnect between the government agencies, parang di sila nag-uusap minsan, kung paano ba yung magiging process nito. Ano po pala need hingin na docs kay client apart from COE contract? You can see the list complete kasi depende yan kung ano yung applicable sa'yo in the DIY guide. Daming Pinoy talaga sa Barca here in Guadalajara. Wow! Alam mo, actually, marami na ring DNV sa Guadalajara. Like super nice na ang dami na talaga kung saan na sila napapadpad. Pero madami nga talaga Pinoy dito sa Barca. Para lang hindi kami masyadong nagkikita-kita kasi sobrang busy ng everyone. Last na please, mga roughly how much ang magagastos in processing for the visa? For me personally, I think it was about, pero depende kasi ito eh. I did the cost breakdown on the Athens Spain Facebook page. Pero depende kasi ito kung ilan yung clients mo, saan yung clients mo nakabase, kung may dependents ka ba. Kasi iba-iba yung documents na kailangan mo. May iba, mas maraming documents yung kailangan compared sa iba, di ba? So, pero generally, just to gather the documents and stuff like that, it would be probably run you around 50K. Mga ganon. Why Alicante po pala? Well, generally because most of my clients and friends are there, but also because I would love to live near the beach. Parang yun talaga yung vibes na gusto ko na life. So we are thinking of that. Dito ko sa Barca, hindi ko masyado gusto yung beach. And if we do want to go to a nicer beach, we still have to go to Sitges, which is about 2 hours by train halos. So, it's too far for me. And di kagaya sa Alicante, parang isang bus lang, nandun na yung, lalo sa mga Santa Pola, sa Elche, ganyan. Alicante is another na madaming Pinoy. Yeah, that's true. For single po. Yeah, for single application, mga around 50K probably, kung isa lang din yung client mo. So impressed with what you're doing, tas speaker ka talaga. Ako, after 5 minutes of talking, pagod na. Ako din, pagod na. Actually, kaya once a week lang siya eh, kasi parang kailangan ko na ipunin yung social energy ko. Kailangan ko ipunin. Kasi I'm naturally an extrovert before. And then, after the pandemic, I became really like an introvert person. Kahit with my partner, pag magkasama kami, ikaw na magtanong. Kahit nung nasa Pilipinas kami, which he cannot speak Tagalog at all. So, we would like, uy, ikaw na like, ask her, parang ganun. Para kahit ako yung Pilipino sa amin. Kasi sobrang, parang naging, na ako, parang sobrang introverted na ako after nung pandemic. Pero this like a good healing way then for me to talk to people and practice lalo yung Tagalog ko. Kasi parang mawawala na yung Tagalog ko dito eh. Kasi sobrang sa work English, sa jowa ko English din. So ayun, it's really nice to hear back from you guys whenever I talk to you sa consultation calls. Ayun. Pero generally ako din napapagod. Talagang parang lang, practice ng practice. Dati 1 hour lang 'tong mga live eh, tapos umaabot na ngayon 1 hour 30 minutes, 2 hours. As long as maraming mga tao nagtatanong, I just want to make sure kasi I feel responsible kinda na of getting this out there, yung information and stuff like that. And that's why I don't post much about my life in general. Sabi nila mag-day in the life daw. Parang I don't feel like I need to do that. Parang that's not why people follow me. Like, the people follow me for information. So, I try to make it as much as possible very informational lang siya. But, yeah, ayun. Ayun lang yun. Pero in school, I do a lot of public speaking talaga. Pero, ayun. Ano nga eh, sabi ko, parang if I knew that, kahit like with freelancing, I'm a web developer, but I started more of like, client facing jobs like sa marketing and stuff like that or client onboarding operations. Parang kailangan din talaga ng people skills 'pag gano'n. So, usually yung mga nagsabi na 3 months na ako, wala pa rin akong nahahanap. Minsan naisip ko din, maybe it's because sobrang ganda ng resume nila, pero mahirap siguro talaga yung magsalita and stuff kasi you need practice din talaga dun. Kaya din sabi ko, like always, like sa mga friends ko nag-start pa lang sa freelancing and stuff like that, kahit makahanap ka ng client, hanap ka pa din, like pa-interview ka lang, ganyan, just in case, malay mo may makilala ka na super ganda ng offer, just in case, para din hindi ka malawang when it comes to your speaking skills. Ayun. As a business owner, how po to show the salary? Need po ba on my named account or pwede sa company bank account na lang kita? No. So, kailangan, kasi independent contractor ka ba eh. So, hindi talaga yan pwede. Dapat yung business owner ka eh. Pero, papakita mo kasi na contractor ka or employee ka ng business. So, dapat makita siya sa personal account mo na pumapasok doon yung salary mo. I'm always in Marabella, like 3 to 4 times in a year. Bar, kaya a bit scary. I get you. It is a bit scary for people. I feel like it's very overstimulating, even for me. Na I thought I could get used to it after a while, but I like it because if gusto ko man like have that feeling na yeah gusto ko like lumabas, gusto ko to see stuff, gusto ko mag people watching, it's always a lot and there's always happening. So, like there's always drama somewhere happening, so I enjoy that. Maganda pang Alicante but also here in Gran Canaria Island. Haven't been there, but Alicante is really good. Not just like I said, I'm not necessarily I'm going there because it's nice and the beach is nice. The beach is very nice. Don't get me wrong, but mostly because I really want to be closer to other Filipinos and to my friends. Avi, which is our Schengen visa consultant with Ate in Spain. Um, Nito rin siya sa TikTok, but she rarely posts naman. Kasi we're both a little bit like personal stuff, ganyan. But yeah, generally, ayun, I wanna be closer to them because I don't know, just feel like I find my like alam mo yun, it's rare to find friendships when as you get older. As you get older, kala mo sobrang tanda. But alam mo yun, parang ang hirap mag-form ng very good friendships. But I feel like with them, we really vibe, have very good conversations. And we are the same when it comes to like political stuff, which is very important to me. Kasi I feel everything is political anyway. Ayun, ako if sa shoes mo na sabihin ko, I will email the requirements, basahin nyo na. Pwede naman ganun din. um, okay. Yeah, definitely. I get your feeling. Um, where to find sworn translator po? This for Japanese to Spanish. So generally what I would say is go from Japanese to English and then English to Spanish. Mas makakamura ka compared sa maghanap ka ng very niche na Japanese to Spanish. But you can check the Traducio website, yung parang list of official translator in Spain. Nandun din yan sa DIY guide. Young per month sis, dapat currently yan, like tuloy-tuloy dapat na salary. Yes. A friend had even been robbed. Yeah, that is a lot. Like, if sa city center ka talaga, if like tourist, yung itsura mo and get up, talagang feeling ko nakawan ka talaga dun. Kaya din ako, hindi nagpa-vlog or anything like that. Because I'm like, when I'm outside, I try to keep a mind of like my things. And I try to like enjoy and have fun. But, ayun, I get it. Pero I feel like Madrid is also kind of the same, to be honest. Like just any major city here is kind of scary kasi you don't really understand people and there's generally a lot of people. And usually pag nagvi-visit ka kasi you're in tourism, 'di ba? Nasa tourist spots ka and ganyan. Pero ako like from the time I've spent here, I've never been robbed pa or had any like weird racism encounter so far. Which is really good, I feel. But also, I don't know if that's because I'm a girl. Maybe they're more annoyed pag men, ganyan. Or inisip namin baka yung combo namin nung jowa ko is confusing for them. So, baka na-confuse sila like, huh? What? Ganon. So, yun yung namin. Pasok ako sa ibang requirements kasi di naabot sa monthly required salary. Yeah, that would be a problem. I think maybe you can add a client, or I mean it's easier said than done. Pero yun talaga yung other way, add another client or to raise yung current na rate mo ngayon. May ibang options ba kapag hindi na umaabot ng 276 euros yung monthly income? Um I'm not sure because I'm not well versed with all the visas here in Spain. I'm not gonna lie to you guys and pretend I know everything because I hate doing that. So I don't like that. So there is the non-lucrative visa. There is the auxiliar conversations, but they're like for different purposes kasi. So I'm not really sure of your entire life. We just like met here, so I'm not sure like ano ba yung goal mo, ano ba yung life mo in general, that type of stuff before I could like even give you like more focused na advice. Ayun, so I'm sorry if I'm not able to answer like most of that ganon. Oh my God, dramatic. Like their cam and phone and bag were snatched. Sheesh. Sobrang scary nung ganon. Lalo if you're in a different place kasi probably nandun sa bag nila yung passport nila and stuff like that. Ate, dapat talaga in good standing ang company ni client. Yes. If hindi, because there are sometimes na hindi, maybe pwede mong itry yung certificate of incorporation, pero generally, it's the certificate of good standing they look for. How about project-based salary pero when average po, pasok naman sa required yearly income? Medyo mahirap kasi i-present yun. So you have to present your case kasi nicely. And pag project-based, it doesn't show stability in your income. Halamede kasi ako tapos SOCMED marketer as a VA, didn't pwede. So kailangan 3 years work experience and or kailangan relevant dapat yung degree mo. Ang ganda ng Barcelona, visited last October. Yeah, kung ganda talaga, maganda talaga. Like, pero to be honest, gusto ko din yung vibe ng lower, like south parts of Spain kasi parang medyo mas ano siya, mas parang intricate yung mga designs. But definitely, nakakagulat yung architecture talaga dito sa Spain compared sa places I've been to like other like parts of Europe. Maganda talaga. May dalawang client, yung isa in good standing but isa is hindi pero nagwo-work pa siya. Yeah, I get you that there are cases like that talaga. So, mahirap talaga. Kailangan kasi lahat yun eh. Lahat ng documents na kailangan. If i-present mo sila, i-declare mo sila as your client, kailangan pasok sila sa lahat ng criterion. Mm. 4 years na sa VA pero clients ko mostly real estate. That's kung 4 years ka na as a VA, qualify. Kasi kailangan either lang naman yan eh. Either 3 years na yung work experience mo or meron kang degree sa relevant na um, sa work title mo, ganyan, or sa work industry mo. Paano pag walang ITR and under agency? So, okay lang naman under agency kasi technically sila yung employer mo. Walang ITR, hindi ka pwede mag-apply sa consulate and depending sa specific case mo, ngayon naghahanap na sa UHE ng other requirements. So, you can watch the video like I just posted, I think yesterday, to get a little gist then about that update. And of course, you can book a free consultation call with me or download the free DIY guide. Dagdag na lang muna ng clients. Then, pag 3 months na sa kanila at pasok na sa monthly salary, carry na. Yeah, Mommy Wells. Mommy Wells, no? Yeah, pwede yun, yung ganong strategy, definitely. Other than that, may question pa ba dito na hindi ko nasagot? Ayan, 3 years PPO experience. Yeah, so depende siya eh. So it's about more of kung meron ka ng client to qualify. Okay lang ba yung isa lang ang na client na with good standing i-use and combine na lang yung two pays? Depende kung paano pumapasok. Kung for example, pumapasok yung isang monthly, so bi-weekly, depende sa strategy talaga yan, Aiza. Actually, book a consultation sa'yo po on January 15 pa nga lang. Yeah. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't know what to say. It's just, I tried my best to accommodate everyone, but I can only do 5 calls a day. Like, yun talaga yung maximum ko, I think, for me to still be sane. But Definitely if may mag-cancel, may mag-open na new slot, I'll definitely ping you on your email. So make sure to mark me friendly so you don't miss any emails then from me. Dagdag lang ng konti. Yeah, exactly. Pwede 'yun. Mm. Very to be honest, very good naman 'yun na at least naghahanap ka pa din ng clients para makaano sa kanila. How to book the free consultation? You just can go to the link in my bio or also go in ateinspain.com/survey. So, you can definitely go there naman. May nade-declare ba doon? May nade-decline ba doon? Saan po? Of course, there are visa rejections for sure. We've had client na hinanapan sila ng ITR sa consulate. And then we just withdrew her application kasi malabo talaga, wala siyang ITR. So, nung nag-apply naman dito sa Spain, umokay naman. So, depende rin talaga eh. Ayun. What if isang client lang kami ng partner ko and ako yung nagsusweldo sa kanya, okay lang ba? Generally no, you cannot combine income. So dapat ang i-present mo, salary mo lahat 'yun. Like lahat 'yan, gano'n. Ako yung sinesendan ni client ng whole pay and I pay the other VAs. Puwede mo siguro pero makikita 'yun eh, kasi ipapakita mo yung bank statement mo. So kailangan mag-make sense yung contract, COE, and yung bank statement mo. Yeah, so definitely, yun yung kailangan mo i-ano, para makita talaga yung pagka-ano, pagka-consistency ng document. Each po ba ang minimum wage? This is for just a single applicant naman. Then I do have a video pinned in my profile kung paano siya i-count kung may dependent ka. Paano po kung short income but can compensate po ng save? So let's say you're making 2,563. If kulang ka ng €200, €200 times 36. And generally, nag apply lang to here in UHE, not in consulate. Yun, opo ako, work from home, balak kong lumipat ng VA to try the Nomad visa. Hindi ba mahirap yung transition? It would generally depend. Each person's journey into freelancing is different. But I would suggest before ka makahanap ng client, wag ka muna mag-quit, with your BPO. So, you need to learn more, see first if it's for you, tsaka ka mag-quit. Kasi it will be a difficult transition if you don't have savings then. Pero nagtatry din ako dun sa student visa for now, yung 1 year. Oh, congrats! That would be really good din naman na transition. Be really good din naman na transition from student visa if ever. Pero I'm not entirely sure kasi if may for example, ito lang dapat yung kinikita mo or may limit yung hours mo under student visa, then magkakaroon ka ng problem converting that to the digital nomad visa. Ayun. Guys, thank you so much for joining the live this week. Pero I think may himatay na ako sa gutom. So, definitely, if you have any other questions na I was not able to answer, leave nyo lang siya sa any of my videos and I'll try to answer them later on today or tomorrow. But definitely, thank you so much for watching and check out the free DIY guide because most of your questions actually gets answered there. And then if hindi naman, you can rewatch the other lives that we do. Nandun siya sa YouTube or post your question on our Facebook DIY group. All of these links will be in my bio. So you just have to like click dun sa yung parang profile ko and then nandun yung link tree. But yeah, thank you so much. For being here and like watching and sending me all the hearts and gifts, and yeah, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. So malapit na yung weekend so yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, kung may other questions pa kayo, just leave them wherever and I'll definitely try to get to them, and then book your free consultation call if you need a little bit more personalized strategy. So dun kasi magpa-personalized strategy talaga tayo. I mean, the other people that already booked the call probably knows naman, like, I don't gatekeep anything. It's just I don't want to give also advice here na probably will not make sense. Kasi 'di ba? So parang mas honest kasi and open yung communication if one-on-one. So, I like to do those one-on-one calls talaga. But yeah, thank you so much guys for watching. And I hope to see you on the next live, which is Friday, in 7 p.m. And yeah, thank you so